Hi vinyl community, this is my first vinyl finds video, so I just want to jump right into it. I have a couple of finds that I've had from a record store, a tag sale, and a flea market. So I got all three. I first wanted to mention one thing. One of the sources that I've been using, I always carry this around, is this book. You can see that it is pretty thick. This is All Music Guide. When you go into Wikipedia and you want to look up a band and it gives you a rating, it's coming from this book. And I really just use this to make sure I'm not just getting a 1 or 2 star type record. It is what it is. Everyone has their own opinions. It's just sort of a guide for me. I could read something about it and about an album I find. So I always carry this with me, keep it in the car. You never know. All right. Also, I do use a website called Raitt Your Music. And it's a good reference for me. Again, it gives me insight at how people rate records. So not everything is a 5-star, which is excellent. A good, like Pink Floyd, is like a 4.3. It's not 5. So people are pretty honest and open about it. I use this to help look for other albums. People refer to other things. They give you lists. They give you charts. These are my top 1,000 albums. These are my top 50 from 1973. So rateyourmusic.com is something I use just to help and see what else is out there. So, okay, I just received this today. This was released last week. The man is the man, but sadly to say, he recently passed away. Johnny Winter, his last album. This is called Step Back. This has a bunch of artists on it: Eric Clapton, Brian Setzer, Billy Gibbons, Joe Bonamassa, however you call it, Leslie West, Joe Perry, Dr. John. And this record is brand new. If you don't know it, if you are a Johnny Winter fan, if you're a blues fan, highly recommend this record. I just put it on and listened to it. There's some great acoustic slides. He is the slide genius. I don't have to tell many of you that, but I love the slide along with playing it, and he is a master. This is the custom label. Hopefully you can see that. And that I just received today from a store, from the web. Okay, so I have, let's see, I'm going to start with backwards. So I went to a flea market. It's a weekly flea market from April to November. And let's just get into it. I am trying to compile Neil Young, and this is one I found. I got this for about $10. I just don't see it around, and it is one that I've been wanting, and I started listening to it. It's straight classic Neil Young from the 70s. The other thing is another Neil Young, and this is Time Fades Away. And I think this is some live work that Neil did. David Crosby and Graham Nash are on this. And these do come with the inserts, which, if you know a Neil Young fan, you know that he has put in inserts with writings and telling you who's on. So I'm glad that was in here. When I was kneeling down and at this vendor's site, I was going through, there was like maybe 5 bins, and I'm going through and I'm looking as quick as I can because my other people are coming. And I see a friend who says hello and starts chatting, and I'm trying to flip and concentrate because this guy has some great stuff. And he starts talking, and before I know it, he pulls out Tonight's the Night from Neil Young and saying, "Oh, this is the album I've been looking for." And I guess you know the feeling when you really have that on the top of your list and someone else says, "Oh, I found it." What that feels like. On top of it, I was looking for the Bob Dylan poster that's in his Greatest Hits album. I think the first one. And of course, I'm going through it and I skim right by it. And one of the guys goes to me, "Hey, look, Dylan, and it has the poster." So, kicking myself for not picking that up and looking inside. I guess you know the feeling, but it keeps the game going. So, for the wife, and I like this guy too. Pretty obvious, easy listening. Okay, I hit a vein of some great 70s stuff. Alice Cooper. This is his first album from Alice Cooper. And it does, no, it didn't have any sheet. But Pretty's for You. His first one, I started listening to this and it is pretty heavy. I am just starting to get into some of this sort of, you want to say, heavier rock, and Alice Cooper's one of the ones that I wanted to purchase. I do have another Alice, but I'll get to it. This was also, well, yeah, this was in there too, in that same bin. I like jazz. I know Dave Brubeck is safe. I like some easy, mellow Sunday afternoon jazz that you can just put on and hang out. I listened to some of this. This was just great. I run into some jazz guys who are collectors. They turn me on and tell me, you know, what to get, who to get, and I started collecting just compilations of some jazz albums so I could see who I like. Don't care for the fast jazz that's all over the place, which I'm sure you know. Okay, the early stuff always hits me with some of these rockers and blues, country, whatever. Bonnie Raitt, I think this is her third album. This is called Give It Up. Gatefold. And yeah, pretty straightforward. Great album. My wife was listening and she liked it. She plays a mean badass slide. Okay, saw this in a pile too. The man, Johnny Winter. Didn't have this in my collection. This is Winter of '88. Pretty straightforward Johnny from the 80s. I am not, as I mentioned, into the heavy metal. Growing into it. I do like this one song, Girls, 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 which is catchy. Not a favorite, but Motley Crue is a band I would never have bought in the 80s. But I'm just buying it because some hard rockers come over the house and I want to be able to play something for them. Okay, speaking of hard rock, I bought this demo album from Judas Priest. This is a promo album, and it is called Sin After Sin. And I just asked the guy next to me, is this a good one? And he said, that is a pretty good one. So I grabbed it. I will give it a listen. Haven't listened to it yet. Never saw this. I think this is from the early 70s. Cream on Top. I feel that I can't lose with Cream. And this is a Polydor record. And a little flimsy. But all these records were clean. And of course when I get home I do clean them again. Okay, love the blues, and I know this album wasn't rated pretty well, but I figured Alvin Lee, I Can't Lose. This is Undead, supposedly his first one. Some of it's live in London. And I don't have many Psych albums, so to me, this cover looks like a Psych. But anyway, that's the label. I never heard of that. Durham. I played it, and it just rocks. And it does have the song "I'm Going Home," and you can't lose with that one. Speaking of Alice Cooper, "Lace and Whiskey." This is from early 70s, mid 70s. Again, just starting to get into Alice. And the one thing about Alice is he has Steve Hunter and Dick Wagner on some of his early albums. And I'm a huge fan of these guys. They, if you don't know who they are, check them out. Check out Lou Reed, his Rock and Roll Animal Live. That's them playing the guitar in that. And they kick some serious butt. They are great musicians. And that's one reason why I want to listen to the early Alice Cooper. And again, I never got a chance to listen to these when I was listening in the mid-70s. So this is my opportunity. So I'm looking forward. Okay, next one. I don't think anyone can lose. Hopefully you can appreciate the genre, but Duke Ellington, New Orleans Suite. Again, a Sunday afternoon, easy listening. I want to sit and relax. I want to make sure the wife doesn't get up and leave. So this is I guess from 1971. If I could find Duke Ellington, I always pick it up. Just so sweet, sweet listening music. Okay, The Doors. This is the first one. This one was, I think he said $5. Now, I would have to think that this is a reissue. I have no clue other than I know it's in good condition. I don't know how to tell. That is one thing why I look forward to the vinyl community helping me figure this out. It's pretty pristine copy, and I grabbed it. It doesn't matter to me if it's a repro. I just want to have it, especially if my daughter asks me for some Doors. I'll be the cool dad and pull it out. Okay, back to Neil. Well, let me say, the other albums that I'm pulling out were everything from $2 to $1. The Neils were the more expensive. This one was $3. This was one vendor who had this. I don't have to explain this one. Pretty much classic and a must-have for any Neil Young collection. This one was another vendor. This was $1, which I can't believe. And this isn't so, it's not rated high, but to me it's still Blondie. They grew up in Union City in Jersey, and I grew up maybe 20 minutes from them. But you can't lose with a Blondie. Well, maybe some of her later stuff. All right, I found you always see these, but again, just want something for the collection. If I ever think of Frankie Sinatra, I have the Essential Frank Sinatra set, along with a 12-page booklet, and it has the story, of course, from Hoboken, a Jersey guy. I could do some reading, but the thing I liked about it, it spans from 1939 to 52, and it's 4 albums, and it was $1. How can I go wrong? Okay, flea market. Oh no, that was the flea market. Now comes a tag sale a few days before. And, alright. Again, I never ever would have bought this album in the 70s or 80s. And I'm really interested, and mostly in his early stuff. And this is a dollar albums. Bossk and Band. This is produced by Glyn Johns, and it's just some good blues in here. I guess I got to show you the promo, right? Doesn't have much. It just shows Columbia with the orange writing. So, something I always wanted to have, I should say, in the past couple of years, and I finally got that. Stones fan, big Stones fan. I always wanted to listen to this album. I never did. And this is Bill Wyman solo, and I think most of you know it. He's the one that produced this, sang on this, and I'm trying to think if there's anybody. Dallas Taylor played drums on it, which was interesting. And that's it, Bill Wyman. It's good, nothing great, but he's a Stone. It was cool. I didn't see a good review for this album, but I have the other one, Manassas. Again, this is a new group that I'm getting turned on to. Stephen Stills, the guitarist, mate, and Chris Hillman, who played with the Burrito Brothers, Birds. So Dallas Taylor also on this, and I basically wanted this because Joe Walsh playing slide guitar. Love me some Joe and slide, and I thought, I can't lose. A buck. Okay, this guy, Lee Michaels. Very impressed with his. This one didn't get such a good rating. Nice Day for Something. And this album, just pretty straightforward. Impressed with some of his other albums. I still got to give this one a listen to, but I did want to build up my collection with Lee Michaels because I did like his two other albums, earlier ones. I don't have much of a collection with this next band, but I knew the early stuff was really cool. And Doobie Brothers. And this one is the Toulouse Street, so I guess from New Orleans. And a little X-rated gatefold. And this was good. I was listening to it, and I was very pleased and glad I got it. Which also leads me to this next one, The Captain and Me. Again, an early Doobie Brothers and gatefold. And a buck. And again, these were really great condition, so grabbed it. For a buck, grabbed me a Willie Nelson. I didn't know much about this, but there's just something about this guy I just like. I'm not in love with him, but I do have a few of his records. Didn't have anything from these guys, and bought ELO, out of the blue, and just some good classics on there. Again, classics, Eagles, Desperado. You know this one? I'm a huge Faces fan and appreciate some of Rod's 70s work. Not after, much after 85. Been wanting this one, I didn't have it. Again, classic, first one. And I am not sure, but I think Jackson Browne is in his late 60s. And he's always had that baby face, so I haven't seen him recently. All right, typicals. For the wife, James Taylor. Two of his 80s albums, just to build up for the collection for that. And this one was in there, and the condition was phenomenal, so I grabbed it. I do have a copy, and I'll just swap them out. The typical brothers and sisters. Okay, narrowing it down, I guess got a few left. This came from my record store. Again, looking at early records, not all of them are always good, but this band just blew me away with their early music. And that is from J. Geils. If you love the blues, you're going to love these albums. Phenomenal. Peter Wolf is a great front man. This album is 1970 and pristine condition. $5. J. Geils, The Morning After. I think a lot of you've seen this, but oh my gosh, the tune is so ripping. I Don't Need You No More. Peter Wolf again, Magic Dick, J. Geils, the whole band. I always saw this in flea markets, never grabbed it. I took a listen to this song, to the songs on YouTube, and I just said I gotta get it, and it just blows me away. Okay, another Bonnie Raitt. This again was $5. Usually the albums are $5 at this one record store. This is Taking My Time. I think this is her third one. Great listening album, and really enjoyed it. And now going to my new wave, punk roots, whatever you want to call it. This band is just phenomenal. The voices are different. Television, this is the reissue. I don't have to explain much to people about this one, but Marquee Moon is usually listed as one of the top albums ever. Top 100. Verlaine and Richard Lloyd. And Richard Lloyd, if you didn't know, did learn some guitar work from Hendrix. And he is a phenomenal player and lyricist, and really cool guy. If you look up some videos for documentaries on him, check it out if you're a television fan. Great information. He talked about the early days of television and Richard Hell and the Voidoids and everything, but oh my gosh, this is great. I haven't even opened it. I'm waiting for the special moment. And they have a third album from '92, which I will be eventually getting. That's it. I hope you enjoyed. I have a lot more to go, and I will see you soon. Bye.